Whoa, I just came out of a disassociative state.
And
I'm back, baby.
And how do you feel?
1
Out of 0.
So
As you should.
thank you, everyone. We just want to start off today's episode of Beyond the Pine by giving a big thanks to our sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with more than 17,000 classes in design, photo, and more, such as filmmaking, film production, a lot of cool stuff like that. So there's a premium membership you can get that gives you unlimited access so that you can improve on your skills, unlock new opportunities, and do the work you love and get better at that work. Everyone has a passion that they're chasing, and to get better at that skill and that passion is, I think, one of the main purposes in life. Skillshare believes in accessible learning, and the price reflects that. They've got an annual subscription with unlimited access, and it's less than $10 a month. Count them, $10 a month. And that makes it one of the best deals you can find for online education.
I've always been a firm believer in, if you're not going to college or something, learn all you can while you can. And there are so many classes on Skillshare that are widely available that meet any need that you could possibly want. Like, Kib, you could learn about dolphin diving.
Especially if you
Probably not dolphin diving, but you could learn about whatever you're interested in.
Dolphin diving specifically. It's interesting.
But like
that you
diving
said
with
that.
dolphins or dolphins diving themselves?
Dolphins that are able to learn how to walk
Or
and
film
then dive
production.
into the water.
That's
that suit us.
Or film production. And one of the coolest things about that is with an online learning community like Skillshare, you're able to completely create your own different curriculum and what classes you want to take in which order and really form your own kind of degree. And since Skillshare is sponsoring this video, they've got a deal for us where the first 500 people to use the promo link in our description will get their first 2 months free to try it out risk-free. Think about all the things you could learn in 2 months. You could learn the world.
It's important to learn. I mean, I think it's really cool that you can learn about what you're inspired by at the time, which is super important because you can go to classes, you go to like a semester, and maybe by the end of it, you're like, ugh, I am not interested in whatever I'm learning. But this one, you can immediately just, if that doesn't interest you, just switch.
That happens to me all the time. Like when you were doing animation, I know I was into animation. I learned a little bit of it, and then I got bored of it, moved on to something else. Perfect. It's just perfect for those kind of people.
Yeah,
learners.
and I am actually interested in taking some of the film production and even like producing and stuff like that type of classes on here because I think even though I have a college degree and all that, I have a college degree. I think it's always important to continue learning, and it's great that Skillshare gives that opportunity for anyone, whether you have a degree or not. No matter who you are, where you come from, you can learn anything you want to do. So once again, guys, the first 500 people that go and sign up for Skillshare will get a free 2-month trial if you go to skl.sh/pine2 and start your trial now.
Link is right on the screen and also in the description down below, so check it out. And welcome to Beyond the Pine episode. I don't know what episode it is.
19? I wish
I think
you
it's
had
19.
said, welcome to the Boys Only Pine cast again.
The Piney
Dude,
Boys.
I said some dumb shit on the previous Boys Only Club podcast.
It wasn't dumb. It
Actually,
was very fun.
No, Boys Only Club.
What's the dumbest thing you've said on the internet?
Probably poopy pants.
Man,
You
I
ain't
don't
wrong.
know. I got a lot of flack for saying Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was bad.
We are actually
bad.
episode 18,
18.
everyone.
Woo,
And you know what?
welcome
Speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I watched it again last night.
What'd you think? How'd
I
you
loved
feel?
it.
Dude, okay.
I truly
so
loved it.
I said
think
this
it's
on the
a
other
great
podcast. My issue with that is that the best version of Guardians of the Galaxy has already been made, and that's Serenity.
Absolutely.
Serenity, the Firefly movie.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
the
like
best
Guardians
chemistry you could have from a
more.
cast like that, and it's the same sort of cast in a way where they're these interstellar they're not exactly heroes and they're not exactly villains, you know?
Yeah.
And it does it perfectly.
Yeah, they're like anti-heroes, but
I liked the series far more than the movie, personally.
Oh, did you, Jamie? Did you like it more?
yeah, Firefly's great, and I think that that was one of Joss Whedon's like greatest
Hits.
things that he did for sure. It was one of his greatest hits because he's a star.
Now, have you seen? Let's talk about Chris Pratt movies. What is it?
Jurassic World trailer,
World
the new
trailer.
one?
It looks like shit.
It looks like shit.
My first impressions.
trailer.
Not only did they spoil like seeing the big dinosaurs and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but it wasn't an epic moment, and nothing in that fucking trailer was epic or like.
Chris Pratt
Intriguing
runs
and
into a
worst
thing I've
pyroclastic
ever
flow.
seen.
You know,
Like
the
you know
thing-
that moment really quick. Sorry to interrupt you. That moment where it's happened in all of the Guardians of the
haven't
Galaxy
seen the,
movies.
trailer yet.
But you know, in Guardians
Yeah.
of the Galaxy, when he's running from something really dangerous,
upset.
and Chris Pratt, it's not in him. It's like a comedic moment. So he's like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
behind me's a monster."
Chris Pratt runs through a pyroclastic flow.
Dude, you would
That's
die.
1,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
Chris
dude.
Pratt spits a mad flow over this beat. He makes it as an artist.
So, dude, that's happened in Guardians 1, Guardians 2, probably another movie with Chris Pratt.
So
and
the
then this
thing
one,
is-
it was so like,
But it's
oh,
like a
we
big
get
serious
it.
moment when he's doing it.
And he's like,
But it
I'm
like felt
running.
so goofy.
Two things.
But like they did that okay in Guardians, and this was bad. I'm sorry, just that was
No,
so
I
fucking
feel
stupid.
100%. Two things about the film industry that I think they're getting wrong. A, it's bringing back huge franchises to try to capitalize on what was popular in the past.
Definitely.
Instead of leaving that as a diamond from the past.
Four.
That will never be a hit. Which is unfortunate because in the comics, Fantastic Four is one of the most important groups.
Yeah.
Oh, they're awesome.
Reed Richards is the smartest man on Earth. And then Dr. Doom is ever so slightly right below, and that's the
Dr.
reason why he hates him.
Third.
And Dr. Doolittle 800th.
800. The man speaks to animals, but just barely.
Like there's such a loss in translation with him.
He gets everything wrong.
But does he hear them?
He never takes the time to listen.
he's a bit of a
but
narcissist.
the second thing about the industry I think they're getting wrong is trailers. I think that the trailers today, and there's such a polarization between good trailers and bad trailers. Good trailers are things that are like, I know the movie was like,
What
not
movie?
Killing of a Sacred Deer. I think that like
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later, like as far as how we felt about the movie. But I think that the trailer was great because it did little to nothing to really showing what was going to be the big reveal or whatever in the
I
movie.
thought it was a fucking horror when I saw the trailer. I was like,
And it, well,
the
in
girl
many ways,
singing-
it does teeter on horror.
yeah.
Because you're never sure if it's a comedy or if it's a horror, which I think
it's-
is one of its best
That's
aspects. But
Yorgos.
For me, it felt like more. The trailer felt like more of
in a previous podcast. John, but I was thinking of John Lackluster for or whatever.
Lackluster?
Oh yeah,
John Lackluster. But dude, real quick, the
I'll
trailer
finish
for
this thought one
that
day.
trailer for that felt more like a slasher for me, not
So-
a horror.
The trailer,
You know what I mean?
trailers are polarizing in the
Yeah,
sense that
and then you look at trailers for movies like I remember Batman versus Superman. That trailer, when the full trailer came out, it spoiled Doomsday.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I was furious.
if you didn't put that in the trailer, that movie could have easily gotten like another star.
Well, they
or
released something like 20 minutes of footage by the time the movie came out.
it's bullshit.
And
It's
now
like,
they have trailers where Chris Pratt's running through a pyroclastic flow.
Oh.
Do you guys get that? He goes, the smoke engulfs him.
Listen.
If he doesn't die in this movie, I'm out.
I can justify that. He took a pill to show Avicii he was cool. He also is able to run through any temperature.
except
Bangarang.
for normal.
Now that's just a theory, but many people are jumping on board with it.
Did you finish your thought?
Yeah, it was about the fact that like trailers are
Suck.
literally putting way too much of a story and way
That's
too
been an issue
many.
for a while.
Yeah, but like it's gotten so much worse because franchises are like the number one thing in Hollywood right now.
Oh,
that
they
people are
literally have a
jumping
part in the this is going to spoil it for you, but do you give a shit?
Jurassic Park.
In the new Jurassic trailer.
Oh no, I don't care. Just don't tell me anything Star
just
Wars
the trailer.
related.
T-Rex.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have a dinosaur that I don't think's been in it since. Was it in Jurassic Park 3? That same kind of
Yeah, it was that.
Carnosaur or
Oh,
whatever?
yeah, yeah.
With the fucking
Oh, the
horns.
Indominus Rex.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Spinosaurus?
I don't know what it's
Indominus Rex
called.
was the Antichrist of the previous Jurassic World.
Did it
That
die
was
at
the
the
main
end?
villain.
That was that was like the
That's
Oh,
one
the
I've
fucking
seen.
the
so
two
Leo
babies.
Flareon
It's
grabbed
implied
down,
that it
right?
dies, but I bet you it comes back in this one somehow.
You know, I think that
You think?
it probably was it a female.
I don't know.
I think it probably had an egg.
I
or something
guarantee you I can
hiding
spoil
somewhere.
this movie for all of you guys. I
And you
guarantee
haven't even
I know what
fucking seen
happens.
it.
Everything's gonna be fun
Prediction.
at the end.
Chris Pratt and Jessica Chastain. It's not Jessica Chastain. It's the person
know,
who
but
looks
she's
like
Oh, it's
real
Bryce
pretty.
Dallas Howard.
Yeah,
Ooh.
she is going to be a villain, I guarantee you. And
Why?
she's just because that's you can tell from the way that they're talking in the beginning and the way their dynamic is and how sequels normally go like this. I guarantee you they're like, what can we do to make something unbelievable happen? And
Bring
We
back
got
the
Bryce
dinosaur.
Dallas Howard.
Balloons filled with gravy.
guarantee you she's going to be a villain. Guarantee you she's going to be for some reason. And Ian Malcolm in this movie mentions during his court whatever hearing is the dinosaurs, or someone mentions it, that the dinosaurs will eventually rule the world. And that's going to be the movie after this, I guarantee you. It's going to be Jurassic World, like the whole world is a dinosaur.
That's kinda
filled
cool.
thing.
I
I hope that's the title too.
Like a
Jurassic World, like the
post-apocalyptic
whole
thing.
world.
Like post-apocalyptic,
Like the whole
but full
world.
of
Like
fucking
all of it.
dinosaurs. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
That'd be fucking
Like
cool.
they get off the island and
Oh,
That's
dude,
the
in
only
New
next
York?
Like the
step.
whole world's like been eaten by dinosaurs, and there's a select few like
Yeah,
groups of
actually,
like
like, that'd be
vigilantes
kinda
that are
dope.
alive
I know.
hiding
That
from
would be
dinosaurs.
bad if they like do the whole planet.
It's like a Planet of the Apes with dinosaurs.
I think that's kind of
like
movie's
that.
more
That
of
would
a
be
filler
cool.
to
I think
that.
that's interesting.
Probably. So one thing I wanted to talk about, and this is very important to me. If you guys see Star Wars before me, don't spoil it.
For fuck's
that
sake.
goes for everyone.
Already
in the world.
saw it.
Now that
Everyone's
you said
gonna tweet
that,
at me
everyone's
spoilers.
going to yeah.
That's fine. I'll kill you. I already got a little bit spoiled today. One
Something-
little scene.
Don't say anything.
Don't say please.
Nothing. Not a thing. 'Cause I would do anything for love.
I would do anything for
Yeah, it's pretty good.
love.
Is it big because of the?
won't.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Did you guys know that song was originally because she wanted his girlfriend at the time wanted to peg him?
With what? Was it a big fucking...
That's how we got into the conversation about Mimi pegging you.
Okay.
By the way, welcome back to the podcast, Jamie.
How was the pegging, dude?
I can't complain.
How was the pregnancy?
I can't complain.
He had a C-section.
He had a seizure section.
He had a seizure, he had a Caesar, a drink.
You haven't been on a podcast in a very long time.
been a minute.
Videos that you've been in haven't been like a character or anything.
Yeah, it's been more so about you as our friend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy.
So we wanted to sort of go over that because I think a lot of people in the audience are curious about why you haven't been in content recently.
Why did we fire him?
Well,
Why?
there were a lot of different reasons. I think one of them was you
The
just weren't
defecating on the
Sexual
office
proclivity
tables.
defecating on the tables and sexual promiscuity that you have that you promised
And all
but
the
only
sexual, I was
implied.
going to say, and all the sexual promises that you didn't follow up on.
I will.
I'm waiting on 3 blowjobs.
Well,
Now another one.
I'm waiting for
there's been interest. No, it's been a lot of. It's just been hectic. Like life kind of got in the way first to begin with, but then it got to a weird place with me. I think.
And all of us. That's
I think it all
actually a
started
really
off
interesting
with
topic.
the woods, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's start with the woods.
Yeah. I mean, where do you want to begin?
Well, originally you were intended to be Elliot's character,
Right.
And
Who was
Elliot.
him? Like, it was just going to be Jamie as Jamie.
There was
Yeah.
a minute where they were going to call Elliot Jamie.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
would have been like.
It's funny. What I always say about the woods is that it's just our friend group in an alternate universe.
Yeah.
If we had never like
oh
done
yeah.
this. And
I love that idea. Like doing all these like
So
short
that's a-
films that are just like different universes.
Yeah, it's a
the same.
fucked universe though. We're all fucked.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're all fucked in the head.
Now
all-
it's just
all
me,
of us.
Steve, and Mimi, and what are we gonna do from there?
And Brennigan.
But
But
we
Paul
can-
Brennigan.
We brought Parker back and me back. We can do it again.
And in this universe, Paul Walker's
But in the
still
other
alive.
universe, everything's just
Thank God.
like not like that.
But maybe we can make it like that.
You're like so concerned about your character in the
Bring me
other-
back. I can't die. That's a spoiler, though. So.
Oh, it's been out so long. And no one
But I haven't seen it yet, dude.
Don't ruin.
I don't know what happens to me. Dude, you're covered in blood and gashes.
I don't know if I am. I only acted in it.
So you were
Yeah, it's
originally intended to be in the woods. That got crushed sort of last minute.
It was so last minute, and I've always felt horrible about
As
it.
you should.
We were
It
more
was-
I'm
sad.
just
It was
kidding.
more like, damn, we wanted our friend to be part of this. It would have been fun
I thought
for
you
him.
guys were gonna like disown me from that point on. 'cause
Absolutely not, dude.
It was a
Oh my
very
God.
complicated situation, and to make a very long story very brief, it was basically like a panic out of my team. Like my manager and agents were just not super aware of how to respond to the whole YouTube thing because like my industry doesn't understand YouTube.
Yeah.
And so their view of it is either that it is just this like nothing thing or that's just like not worthwhile. It's not making money for anyone. It's run by a bunch of spoiled kids. Or it's this gargantuan thing that's so huge and it's in everyone's living room that it's too familiar for people to actually like respect any real actor.
Yeah, and that
which I'm not.
To a degree, it's true. YouTubers are like typecasted as YouTubers, and if they get into film, they're instantly scrutinized far more than
Absolutely.
Any other actor because they're YouTubers.
Which
so
is-
they're not as
yeah.
good, or they're not traditionally trained as an actor or whatever. So they're immediately looked down upon for sure. So they're not wrong.
Right.
Which is why I'm really glad that we're doing the show that we're doing and we're having opportunities to make short films and stuff because we're using this as our vehicle to move into film and TV and I think it's working.
And what we do is like much better than like if we were just sit down gamers or something like that. I know we were, but I mean like what we're doing is like close enough to the film industry that
Yeah, we're
like
writing
You know what I mean? We
character
have
Well, I
it.
mean,
We have
I
it
get what
better.
you're saying. If we were gaming, then we wouldn't probably be able to break into the film industry. We wouldn't be taken.
We're like
That's just-
teetering, so we're.
That's what
at a
I've
good
always
spot.
that's what I've
Which
always
is nice.
admired about you guys and why I've why we started hanging out and doing stuff to begin with is because I love what you're fucking making because it's so different and it's like it's original and fun and
It's so
Thank
cool
you.
that when we met you, we were fans of you, and you were fans of the show. I think. Were you a fan, or did you just start?
No,
watching
I've been
it?
watching Steven for a long time.
That's so. Cool.
I watched you and you were doing your reaction videos at your desk. and
Pussy.
shit. Yeah.
It's so funny when he told me because we did the haunted episode like way back over the summer.
Yeah.
And no, that was like May or something. That was so long ago.
Oh, Ghost Hunter.
Yeah,
whatever
Ghost
it was.
Hunter,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you told me
Hunter?
like because
Oh,
we
yeah.
split up into the two groups, me and Kay, but then you and Parker. And then you told me like, yeah, we stopped at my friend
James Allen McCune.
James's house. He's an actor, and I was like, oh, cool, James who? And he's like, James McCune, and I was like, that sounds so familiar. Wait, James, like the guy from Blair Witch?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's your friend? That's so fucking cool.
I know.
I thought it was cool too. Now,
Just-
not so much.
No,
No.
Familiarity makes everyone upset. But
I
it
love
was,
it though.
It was yeah, my there's a lot of like paperwork stuff and a lot of legal things that were also iffy, but my team just didn't understand where to land on this.
You mentioned that the Streamies thing sort of...
That's what I was about to say, because the Streamies happened right before we were about to... The Streamies was the week of shooting.
Yeah.
And so they were cool with it until they caught wind of this, because they were hearing about y'all independent from me.
They likely imagined that it would be a back step in your career.
Which it very well may have been.
God knows.
There was just a lot of confusion about how to respond to it.
True.
And
what opportunities it may stifle, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, don't do it.
I don't know. It's very strange, because like this whole like being an actor thing is kind of a bullshit gig, because you're kind of at the whim of...
Don't tell me that, dude.
You're better off being behind the camera. But
Don't tell me that either. I want to direct, but I want to act.
Me too. Just act.
But no, the perception of it was definitely a little bit confusing as it got closer to shooting, because they were kind of like, well, we can't advise it, but it's cool that you're making stuff. Go make stuff. We think this is really interesting content, whatever. And then as it got closer and they started hearing more and more, they're like, okay, well, if you're going to be seen by this many people, then maybe we should be concerned. And I think that they just kind of
became too much.
I honestly don't know specifically what they were thinking. It was just that by the end of it, they were like, you got to think of the big picture, and then like went on this thing. And
I don't think they're necessarily wrong. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're wrong.
I was so bothered.
So at this point,
of course, yeah.
At this point, it's more of a liability to be in videos than anything. But that's not to say that there isn't some like future for you in this content. I think we're talking about how this is all going to, how everything's going to culminate eventually. So you won't not see him write for a certain amount of time. Like, you'll be back for a bit.
Well, he can be on things where he's not playing a character. Like, he can be on this podcast whenever the hell we want.
Yeah.
He can be on...
That's the thing, because it's a gray area. Like, what you guys are doing is such a gray area as far as what constitutes
podcasts
film.
are fine.
Like, I bet you we could probably, like, as you, not playing a character in a Sugar Pine 7 episode, if we, like, went and stormed into your house and went, like, James Allen McCune, what's up?
Yeah.
And it's not famous actor James Allen McCune.
Yeah, one thing I found really interesting was that you mentioned that it was sort of tough for you to do that role.
Oh, yeah, because oddly enough, this character is kind of the closest thing to like real life in a lot of ways for me.
This is something that we all talked about. You were actually away, and we talked about like how the show makes us feel and how our characters affect us, and like the three of us. I'm surprised it doesn't for you as well, but I guess because you don't have to like play.
It might be the opposite
into
for you,
something.
Mine is more cathartic, absolutely.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I guess true.
And I think that's going to play into the plot. By the way, a lot of people think that season 2 is over. Like the way we finished all the Parker plot lines and all that. Dude,
still going.
We have like a month left.
Yeah,
and
I think we realized the way we did that was a bit of a mistake, because it wasn't big enough to be a season ending, but it was big enough to confuse everybody.
No, I think it had the potential to be big enough. We didn't do it big enough because that was never our intention. It was more of a mid-season kind of arc, but we didn't do it quite in the middle. We should have pushed it a little bit.
Yeah.
And it had some resolution, which usually mid-season arcs don't.
The good news is we all had like a bunch of talks about it, and we figured out a way to tie it all together, I think, in a really, really cool way.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. And also the direction we're going to be taking the show after the end of season 2 is I'm really excited about.
So let's go back to...
real quick, back to what you were saying about like, and what you guys were saying about like the whole idea of like how the character that you portray and you play in the show affects your real life. Like sometimes it's interesting because since you're so close to that character, if you are unsure where that character is going to go as far as the story and their development, it almost in real life makes you think like, okay, well, where am I going?
Exactly.
What's my next step and stuff like that.
Well, and this is what we talked about in the meeting, where for me, I have a really hard time creating anything unless it's really personal to me. And so I think what I was investing was just kind of like, okay, what's funny about the tragedy of my life, and that ended up, that was my career. And so like, I think to kind of lean on how things weren't going well in my career as a joke for this was like really interesting. And so as my life kind of got weirder, I started adding more stuff in kind of a more theatrical way, like the whole thing about
being homeless and drunk and
well, it's just, I think that was more of like a state of mind sort of thing. And I was also getting this is getting very serious.
That's what we're down to. Yeah,
it's getting real, but
we'll talk about how we all feel and shit.
This year I've been getting treated for a few like mental things. I've been taking medicine and stuff. That's really kind of shifted my brain 120%. My entire life is just totally reshaped because of these medicines. And there is always this question of like, well, what the fuck am I? You know, like if my entire existence overnight can shift because of this pill, like who the fuck am I supposed to be? You know, and so
it's like the way that you were acting before, thinking before wasn't really you because now it's different, and it's like
yeah. And actually, the antidepressants were the biggest thing. We've talked about this a lot. That was a literal overnight shift, and it went from me kind of like passively drifting through life to like all of a sudden I was like right fucking here, you know, and I. That was a huge deal for my relationship with Mimi. And so I think my priorities went from my career to my relationship with her. And right now that's the most important thing in my entire existence. And I wish that had been a priority from the beginning. And I think that's the stuff that I've been dealing with. And so like kind of like funneling that back to my character, it was all about just this like, you know, I'm spinning out of control.
A washed up actor.
Yeah, he had no idea who he was. He was just kind of at the whim of everything around him. He was falling apart. And
it starts to leak into how you feel about your actual life because it's like a different version and an exaggerated form of yourself.
Yeah. And it was also like our friendships. My character with y'all wasn't really a friendship. That character was just sort of like being either
imposing and like
I would either just appear or I'd be dragged along to stuff. And reluctantly, if I was sober, I was unhappy. And so it was all kind of just. And then after the woods, and I started to have more clarity mentally because of this medicine and stuff. I was like, oh, that's actually like really, that's kind of too close. and I had a few weeks of kind of darkness thinking about that. It's like, shit, and that was one of the things my manager said. He was like, this would be one thing if you were playing a character. Or if you were just yourself, but because your character is famous actor James Allen McCune, there is direct attention being placed on your job, and to make that a joke doesn't look good for you
and doesn't feel good.
I disagree with him about that because I feel like you need to laugh at yourself.
I think
definitely to some degree.
I think that too, and it's also one of those things where it's like I could see that like almost working out for you in the sense where it's like you put a light on the actor's life, right? And you're showing like this is what it means. Like everybody has this idea. Everybody who doesn't live in like LA or isn't like an actor in whatever town they're in has this idea of an actor like at any point in their life is someone who's like just got their shit together, is getting roles and doing all this stuff. And it's like even doing this like this super small amount of acting that I've done and like the auditions that I've done and stuff, I'm like, nope.
It's definitely different because I had the same thing. I didn't grow up trying to be an actor or anything. So like I kind of had that perspective that I think the rest of the world did, where it was like
it's amazing.
I revered it. Yeah, it's like, you know, traveling like red carpet and shit, you know, whatever. But then I did the red carpet and I realized it's actually just this fucking backdrop on a dirty street in LA. And once you're off the red carpet, people don't give a shit about you. It was like this big metaphor for what this really is and shit. I've been wanting to do. I've always thought about doing a documentary about me and my group of friends of actors who are very talented and very overwhelmingly disregarded.
Gosh, did you want me to be the main character?
Humbled.
Well, I didn't want to
just had to ask.
impose on you. But yeah,
I feel you because it's like that's those two things are like what contributed to you like wanting to kind of step back a little bit, and like obviously it was a liability for you. And I think James and I talked about that too with you. Like same thing with the Kib character, like feeling like an idiot in the first place, and then playing an idiot doesn't make you feel good because like at first it was just like fun, you had nothing to lose, and then eventually it just started to like leak into how I actually felt about myself, and then like
it feels too real.
If you feel like an idiot every day and then off camera you still feel like an idiot, it like doesn't feel good. Yeah, it's too close to home. So it's just like ugh. But I mean, I still have fun doing it. I love being an idiot on camera, but it's the leaking into my real life afterwards, feeling like I'm actually a fucking idiot makes me feel awful.
And that's something I was worried about with y'all. I never for a minute wanted you guys to feel like I wasn't invested in you as friends.
We never thought that ever. No, you've always been such a good friend to us.
Yeah.
Man.
I just hate that I kind of took a step back and didn't really talk to you guys about it because I was
didn't
just
feel like you didn't want to be friends. We fully
out.
Understood what it was like. If you weren't here working, you had no other reason to be here. You were still like one of our best friends easily. Like
and next year I'd love to be more involved behind the scenes and help you guys produce stuff.
That'd be awesome.
Oh man, during the woods you were.
Dude, yeah, you were
so on it, so professional.
One thing
so
actually
good.
tie into that red carpet metaphor that you were talking about. I remember, I mean, the closest we ever got to that kind of feeling probably was the Streamies, I'd say, when we were backstage. And I sort of hate those kind of moments looking back
it's
at
awful.
it. Because, and in two ways, one, social anxiety, Jesus Christ. Two, because reaching those sort of goals, and this I think goes back to not only the Streamies, but there was something else recently. Oh, something that's coming up, something that is a pretty important goal in some ways. those moments, I think, push me off from work. Like
They bring you out of it too much or something, or
they make me feel like I've accomplished what I've needed to accomplish. And it's sort of, I think it's just the chase to those moments that where I'm putting out content that I'm truly proud of. And after those moments, it's sort of like a lull in a way.
I see
It's
that.
so
I
secondary.
think you just have to make sure that there's always a goal past your goal. There's no end game. It's a goal
I'm
to
terrible
get
at
to.
long-term goals. Terrible.
No, but you don't have to have like 12 ready right now. It's
Yeah.
once you get to that goal, you go, okay, what's the next step? And then you're back into the chase.
I guess
You've gotten
it's just,
to that first
it
goal.
comes down to I don't even know what I want.
Yeah.
That was
I
I
hear
was
you.
just about to say that was
You're not
something
supposed to,
I'm
though.
working through in therapy is like, you know, and this was one of the things that fucked me when I was trying to figure out.
These are one of the people that fucking.
This is one of the people. He's very good at it.
Gulty.
Gulpy.
Guillotine.
But the question of, because Mimi asked me this around the time all this stuff was happening, and she was like, "Well, what do you want? Like, what do you like? Like, if you could do what
Like that scene from The Notebook.
it basically,
What do you want?
What do you want? And we're
What do you
like,
want?
in the rain and shitting.
What do you want?
But
What do you want?
Just keep saying it. I don't know.
What do you want?
you're like at a McDonald's in the drive-thru, like, I don't know.
Burgers.
Nuggets, no, number one.
So sorry to interrupt. Back to you and Mimi.
Yeah, that was when she asked me that. I totally fucking lost it, and that was around the time when I was like, "Oh, my fucking career's a
Small
joke."
existential crisis.
Well, yeah, because it was like, what about this process do I actually fucking enjoy? Because I really fucking hate the lifestyle. Actually, I hate being an
I
actor.
think
I love the job.
the
I hate
lifestyle
being
of
in
like
the
trying to
lifestyle.
get to a comfortable acting like lifestyle is shitty.
This-
Once you start
yeah.
getting reoccurring roles, and you know, okay, well, next year I know I'm doing this movie, and you're like, you're making a decent amount of money. Like that's probably like where it's good. Still
Dude,
stressful, but
You're never
get
you're
there.
never cool. You're
Really?
never set. I talked to fucking Bill Macy. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but he
no, who's Bill Macy?
William H. Macy and Shameless.
Oh, Bill. First name is.
So fucking sorry, but he.
So funny.
I remember
I was
having
talking to Bill.
we had
Call.
this conversation about the show and stuff, and he was talking about how great it is to have regular work and stuff, and I was like, oh, but you're fucking Fargo, dude. Like you could just go off and do
Fargo, yeah.
whatever. yeah.
Hey, bud.
But he was like, I just, who knows if I'd ever get
Jerry
work again.
Lundegaard.
I was like, if fucking William H. Macy is afraid of never getting work again,
William H. Macy is afraid. That dude
Who
was
the
in
fuck
door
is
to
that?
door.
and I don't want to speak for him,
I'm
but
gonna Google him real quick.
he had this, this thing of like, I mean, who knows? Like it could just drop off. And I remember I've talked to every actor I've talked to, even fucking the tops of shows and shit. They all have
Well,
this.
entertainment's like that, I think, all across the
Wow.
board. Like YouTube,
He's afraid of not getting work.
a month could definitely be different. I mean, months are completely different for ad revenue.
I mean,
Like,
it's not,
YouTube's
not everyone can be
fucking
JonTron. You
horrifying
never know.
like
Like,
that.
you can't fucking disappear and then come
Yeah,
back.
right?
And it's like,
When it's not a company, like when you're doing it just for yourself.
Oh,
and-
I'm consistently worried about what anyone else is going to say on a podcast or anything, and then suddenly our channel just dies.
Yeah, true.
who knows? Yeah. And it's like out of your control a lot of the time because people take shit out of context.
I remember when Kib said the N-word 48 times.
I tried to
at
get it
right
in.
now.
RTX
In the
on panel.
in the BTS, I
Yeah.
left 4 N-words in on my part.
Yeah.
Finally, because you didn't watch the last one.
Yeah, I didn't watch the last.
And I'll say it right now.
So anyway, back to the podcast. Thank you, Kib. I want to say that our next sponsor is actually Uber, and I use Uber every single day, twice. It's been
Why?
probably, well, I don't know if I have to explain. Car crash. Terrible car crash. So you can use Uber for a safe and comfortable way to ride around town. You can request an Uber ride anytime with the Uber app. It's safe and a comfortable way to get to where you need to be, like going to your company's holiday party or a night out with friends and family. I know that we'll be having a company holiday party pretty soon that you're all invited
won't
to.
be attending.
Okay. Actually, this relates to me. If you're late for work, you can take an Uber and work from the car. Like I was planning out stuff for the podcast today from the car on the way here, which was super convenient.
Or play chess.
I also I plan out how long the Uber ride is going to be and how many games of chess I can get
Let's
in.
talk about our chess game the other night.
Dude,
too.
okay, we'll talk about that right after this. It's so funny. So say you need to run some errands. You can take an Uber and you don't have to deal with the hassle of finding parking. Maybe you're heading out of town and you need to get to the airport. You can take an Uber and you can focus on being on time for your flight. So you can even book an Uber in advance for a truly stress-free experience. I have not done that yet. I really want to try booking an Uber in advance. Like I'll have a schedule to leave in the morning or something, and then my Uber's just waiting for me out there and be like,
Or going to a party. Imagine if you're like, I want to leave by this time, so if you order an Uber in advance, then gotta go.
Hard out. Yeah,
Gotta
right?
do
I have a hard out.
usually.
Uber is a better way to get anywhere you have to be. You'll even know the price before you book a trip, and you can pay directly in the app. Install the Uber app today from the App Store or Google Play. New riders who use the code THEPINE will get $5 off their first 3 rides. That's code THEPINE to get $5 off your first 3 rides. Uber, the better way to get anywhere you have to be. New users only. Offer expires February 18th, 2018. So thank you, Uber, for sponsoring this
Thank you,
podcast.
Uber.
And now let's talk about that chess game we had because, dear God, so Kib and I were moving stuff. Actually, no, we were at the new apartment waiting for Time Warner to get there in the morning because they were coming super early to install internet there. So Kib and I, it was probably about 2 a.m.
Steve's downstairs on the couch. I'm upstairs in the bed. Doors open. Dick's out. Phone's
And-
on.
Wait,
Yeah.
why were they coming at 2 a.m.?
No.
No.
It was 2 a.m. at the apartment.
Yeah.
We were waiting for Time Warner to get there in the morning because I didn't feel like waking up and driving there.
Copy.
Yeah. So I'm downstairs on the couch and I figured out how to invite Kib to a chess game. So I invited him and it's, it starts off pretty easy as most chess games do. You move some pawns, you get a couple losses, a couple trades, and then suddenly Kib just has his king left.
And beats you.
And I have like 3 queens. I've traded like 3 pawns. I'm not even like trying to win at this point. I'm just getting all my pawns into
Literally
queens.
just playing. Every move, I'll like do a little voicemail. I'll be like, "Don't you touch my queen, you goddamn bitch."
I yelled up at him and I was like, I could see that his king was moving towards my king. I'm like, are you trying to kill my king with your king?
And then I was like, "No, idiot."
Sends me
And
a
then I
voice
play the
message.
move. I'm gonna kill your king, you bitch. It's so fucking funny, dude.
So eventually, I think I killed him with a pawn.
Good times.
And
Dude,
you checkmated him with the pawn.
my fucking at one point, you know how is it the king that I had left? He can only move left and right at certain circumstances for some reason.
he was
No,
stuck
he
to
just
3
has
moves. He could only do 3
one
moves.
He couldn't go
any
up at all for
direction.
some reason. He would just go left or right at this point. I don't know. It's just the rules of this fucking
he probably
game.
had like a castle blocking. or
Chess is
something.
changing the whole
Maybe.
way I look at life. After I'm done playing chess, I'll look around the room and suddenly I'm thinking, oh, I could kill Kib with a bishop from here. I'm not even kidding. It's so weird.
like,
Fight!
Bishop.
It's exactly like that.
we should play chess.
I
Yeah,
legit don't know
I
how
have
to
a chessboard
play.
for the
Really?
office.
I've never played.
I have a Star Wars chess.
No. Oh yeah, we saw it, dude.
No!
Dude,
bring it in.
we used that at Parker's for a video.
Yeah.
Really?
So I'll bring that in and I'll beat you.
Okay.
I'd love to have a
Absolutely.
good match.
That'd be amazing.
Dude, we could get high on Zoots.
We can wear zoot suits and get high. We don't even have to play.
Actually, real quick, I wanted to go back to something you were saying about like the actor's life and how the lifestyle versus the art and stuff like that. Like, I love being in character and performing like that and acting. I'm not a theater guy. I like doing it on camera and stuff, but like putting your mindset in another character's mind and like using emotions that are inside of you to like express it through that character and stuff is so like satisfying in a way.
Yeah.
Like I truly, when I'm acting and like I'm actually acting to act and I'm not just like with this show, because we don't really act as much in this show, but like with the woods and stuff like that and things I've done in the past, like truly just putting yourself in that place and like acting, it's so, maybe the word's cathartic or
Yeah,
maybe it's just
cathartic,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
it's just so like,
It's incredible.
It's like fulfilling in life. You feel like you're doing something. I don't know. It's
Yeah, I
just,
think
that was-
the biggest part of that for me is just the idea of building a story.
yeah.
Yes, and
And seeing it come out and like seeing
Yeah.
it play out. And,
that's
and
one of the
way
things
that you
I
thought.
admire most about you is your ability to thread things, and you have such an incredible thinking process for how to create, and it's always really
This
impressive.
is
shit
just
out of me.
okay processing.
Computer has an old processor.
It's like reading the book you're working on. It's like fucking cool. Like
Oh, I have not done anything to that in a long time.
Yeah.
I need to.
It's
still-
about spacemen who are allergic to Skittles.
It's about Chris Hardwick.
Only the shell. They're only allergic to the shell.
From the OJ trial. What? Wait, who's Chris Hardwick?
He's from
fucking
Nerdist.
the host of
Okay,
like everything.
I'm thinking of Chris Darden.
Darden.
You guest starred on Boy Meets World one time.
I love
The host of Singled
Chris
Out.
Hardwick from the OJ trial.
I'm thinking of Chris
I was like, how do you know anyone from the OJ trial?
Chris Darden, Marsha
Brady?
Marshawn Lynch.
Marsha
Marshall Mathers?
Marsha, what is it? Marsha?
Oh, Eminem released a new song.
Really?
Yeah.
What? I was
He
gonna say James should have been the
He
first one to know
released a
about
new
that.
song. I don't particularly. Oh, you guys.
help.
Okay, so this is one of those things that nobody gives a shit about. I've been mentioning it on podcasts very frequently. They finally released the new McLaren.
Yeah, the
The new McLaren. It's called the Senna, I believe, which is it's so funny. I thought it was called the Sienna at first, so I thought it was like a McLaren and Toyota Sienna hybrid like minivan.
Oh my God, guys! Eminem has Ed Sheeran on a song on his
What
new
the
album.
fuck?
Shut
Wait, this is
up.
the new song. Listen.
We can't afford it.
That's his top song on Apple.
Oh,
Dude.
you know what? Something I actually really wanted to do on this podcast. We've been talking about it for a really long time. I wanted to play an improv game with you guys.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
So much.
So
I gotta head
down
out.
Yeah, I wanted to do it where
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
where we do a beginning and then we build a story all together
please,
through one
let's do it.
I
sentence.
thought we have done that
Okay.
actually.
Did we?
I think we did it like the first or second. I think
Yeah.
we did literally the first podcast with
Maybe.
Parker, I think.
I've wanted to do that again for so long.
I'm down.
So I guess maybe we should start with Jamie and then we'll go boom, boom,
So
boom.
sentence.
Yep.
How's it? Okay, so I just
Just a sentence.
say,
We build a story and then someone gives a topic. So we need to have a topic. So James, you want to come up with a topic?
Skynet.
Skynet. All right.
Okay. I threw my net into the sky.
Oh, you don't know what Skynet is.
I do.
Metaphor-
I don't act like I don't. I know.
Metaphorically, that is, because I was the one.
The only one who knew the day that the machines would take over.
So I wrote it into a script and I was trying to fucking pass it off to this girl with the big feet.
Uma Thurman.
Uma, she was crazy. She was a crazy girl.
God, you ruined it.
That's exactly like what I would do in improv classes. Source said, sorry, I'll do the next one for real. But I would always fuck up everyone's improv story.
Get them everyone off track.
It was very effective. My brain went completely white. It's like all of my memories just drained out of my ass.
Vampires into that
character,
improv
like,
story.
Vampire titties, they suck you.
Vampire titties, the succubus. My favorite story from Edward Sheridan.
Edward Sheridan.
From Ed Snow. Ed what's that guy's? Edward Snowden.
Edward Sheridan.
Edward Snowden was great at hentai. He's drawing into
So we'll do Kib topic, James start, and then we'll go this way.
Topic: Christmas burglars. You can either be the burglar. Yeah, you're the burglar.
Don't give him a choice.
No, I'll just start it. I'm
Okay.
starting it.
So I was the burglar.
We finally had the greatest plan.
Marty was going to come around the inside of the house, and I was going to come inside him.
Mom, quit reading my diary. That's not what I meant. It's not what it sounds like, I swear.
On the other hand, that is what it meant. That's exactly what it meant.
Oh, God.
Now, Marty, I just received a text from Marty. It says I'm inside. I'm inside the house.
Okay, let's keep going.
So I texted back Marty. I said, no, you're not supposed to come until tomorrow night. It's December 23rd. It's supposed to be on December 24th, idiot.
He responded, I'm already here. Like, what am I supposed to do? So he went further into the house, and then he took one of the grapes from the counter.
Then he drops them and there are grapes everywhere. And I have to clean them up. And Mom's real mad at me. And she found my diary and saw all the things that I've been saying.
So me and Marty, we bailed the fuck out of there, and we went to the house next door, right? And god damn it was fucking beautiful. It's pristine, and we got in.
It didn't dawn on me in that moment, but I thought back on it now in prison, and I'm thinking back and remembering. Those neighbors knew me since I was a child. They recognized my face anywhere, and my friend because he was always over. So what were we thinking?
And to add onto that, you can make really great food in prison. Like, you don't get an opportunity.
Turns out you can make cheesecake in a toilet. And it's a 5 out of 10.
It's a 0 out of 10.
So me and Marty, right, were in this house. They knew exactly who we were. We asked them if we could come over. We started stealing shit, putting it in our bags, our asses, our mouths, our eyes.
And new scene.
Cool. So we're gonna play this game called Alphabet, and I don't know if these are the exact rules, but this is how we're gonna play it. So it's gonna start out with a topic that we're gonna decide on, and someone's gonna start with the letter A. And actually, we can start on any letter we want. But then the next person is gonna have to say. So you say one word with that letter, and then the next person is gonna say a word with the following letter. So if I said nuns, then he would say mooned, and then. Sorry, that's backwards.
Backwards. But I would start with O. I would do a letter or a word that starts with O.
Yeah,
Does
but
that
I
make
was
sense?
also saying like if something's a noun or something, you could say like or the in front of it. That's fine.
It's like
As
little
long
prepositions.
As long as prepositions. That's what it's called. Are you gonna propose to me?
Uh-oh.
You want to go out?
Uh-oh. He's crashing.
apple?
His real personalities come out. Steve dropped character. This is who he is in real life.
Start with A.
Somebody help him.
Just start with A.
He can't put the mask back on.
What's the topic?
That's
What's
who
the
he
topic?
is.
So we need a topic.
Okay.
Jamie, you want to come up with a topic, or Kib, do you want to come up?
Ointment.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So
After.
who's starting?
After.
Bernard.
Came.
Down.
Everyone.
Forgot.
Gnomes.
ostensibly.
Does it start with an H?
Yeah.
What?
Oh.
Element. Wait.
G.
H?
Gnomes.
Gnomes. I was thinking in. Oh my god.
Oh, Jamie, no.
Oh god. honey, no. Honey, no.
No.
Ostensibly. Held.
Interior.
Jelly beans.
Oh, that does come after I. Kmart.
No, you say at Kmart.
At Kmart.
Later.
My dad.
All right, Jamie, let's just break to the real thing we want to talk about. You're a member of Hollywood. Who in Hollywood do you know of that has allegations that haven't come out yet? Some secret thing. You don't have to name names. You just have to tell us that there is somebody out there that hasn't been called out yet that will be called out
And
soon.
tell us their name.
And tell us their name and what they've done.
Be honest with me.
done.
Is it Boba Fett?
Okay. I have an allegation
What about Darth?
against Andy Lincoln.
Who's that?
He's Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead.
Really?
Ah.
No way.
Yes.
You're just lying.
Yes.
He's a really nice
I have
guy.
an allegation. I have a real allegation
Okay,
about
that'd be
Andy.
a nice one, though.
Has this come out yet?
He's the nicest man in the world.
He's a really nice guy.
Oh, you're a fucking...
He's the nicest guy in the world.
God,
That's
you
the- I have a friendly. He's got a. He smells good all the time.
Well, so do I.
Really good. It's a really good situation.
wait.
He's a very good dad.
Does this bring you back to the show?
Carl. Where's Carl?
Squirrel.
Where's Carl?
Fucking Chandler just moved to town, and we were like, oh,
Continue.
we've been trying to figure out time to hang out, but like there's this show called Chasing Coral, like the ocean.
Carl.
I tagged him in it, and I was like, sorry for all the future jokes you're about to get, dude.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh fuck me, man. It was just like his whole Twitter feed.
How long is The Walking Dead gonna continue?
Too long.
Can't it end?
I got bored of it.
Who the fuck cares about zombies anymore? Who the fuck cares about zombies?
I love those people and I love that show, but it's certainly not. There's things that I would have done differently.
It's still one of the highest grossing TV shows of all time, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, still to this day.
It's still good. It's just like, okay, wrap it up. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's been good since season 1.
Nah.
I heard there was like one good
It's
season
been
in
good.
between there. There was like maybe season 6
Oh,
or
yeah.
I
something.
watched
when-
a lot of it. It was still pretty
Was it 5 or something or 4? Whenever Scott took over as
Yeah.
showrunner.
Season 5.
Oh, I just want to address something that really just is a hit on my personality and ideals. A podcast, not this one, but a previous podcast on Boys Only Club, I had mentioned that I didn't like Benjamin Button. Then the previous podcast yesterday, I mentioned that I had never seen Benjamin Button. So
Wow, doxed.
You know what you meant? You didn't like Benjamin Button disease.
I just assumed that it wasn't one of his highly reviewed films, and it's not. No one considers it one of David Fincher's best films, so I wouldn't either.
I mean, it
Not true
was
at
like
all.
Oscar nominated. And
And
loved
that's
it.
like saying Martin Scorsese, like Casino isn't my favorite, like is a bad movie, but it's still like an amazing movie because it's Scorsese. It's like when you have a director that's that big and has such an amazing frame of work.
Do you guys like Benjamin Button?
Yeah.
I haven't
I
seen
liked it. I don't want to see it again.
I haven't
liked
seen
it
it,
first
but
time
I
saw
liked it.
I'll tell you, I'll never see Sacred Deer again.
I would never see Sacred Deer again.
There's a lot of
Fuck
movies that like
movie,
you
dude.
watch once and
Yeah.
you get it.
What's
Yeah.
one for y'all? Because I have a few.
Sacred Deer, absolutely.
Requiem for a Dream.
Haven't seen
Mother.
it.
Oh,
Haven't seen that either.
Mother. I didn't have an answer. There was one recently.
The
Fucking
Scarab
A.
Man.
Did you see Three Billboards yet?
Dude, fuck yeah.
So good.
See what?
So fucking
Three
good,
Billboards?
dude. I would watch
Oh
that
yeah,
again.
holy
Best
fuck.
movie
We
of the year
talked
for
about
me.
this.
I still
Wow.
want to see Lady Bird.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, I saw Lady Bird.
Was it really good?
It's fucking great.
Best movie of the year?
No.
Better than
Not
Three
as good as
It was
Billboards?
Three
fucking
Billboards?
excellent though. That was a really good movie.
Yeah.
It was like watching my girlfriend's childhood in a lot of ways.
Aw.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that. My favorite movie, I think, of this year will always be Good Time.
Oh, you know, there was
haven't seen
actually...
it either.
Seen it.
So
And
good.
sorry to tie back to Sacred Deer. If you don't know what Sacred Deer is, it's the
Killing of
the
the-
sequel to The Lobster. No, it's by the same guy. What's his name?
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yorgos Lanthimos. He released this movie, Sacred Deer, and it's a story about
Killing of a Sacred Deer.
not an anesthesiologist because they can
He's
never kill a
a
patient. He's a
cardiologist.
surgeon.
Heart surgeon.
Yeah, heart surgeon who has this relationship with this boy, and suddenly it turns sour. Is the lightest way of putting it. There are many issues that I have with this movie. First off, it's a big metaphor, I think, for an eye and karma and human morality. But the thing that bothered me the most about it is there is a clear scene where something happens, and then the next scene you're thinking, oh, easily you should be in jail.
Yeah.
Oh, you should easily be in jail.
Yep.
And there's a scene in to relate this to Three Billboards, which is another Oscar-nominated movie that has already been out for a while. There's
Is it nominated? Are the nominations
Oh, it
out
has
yet?
to be.
I
They
hope
have
to
be.
God.
There's-
It's
Oh,
so
it's going.
I guarantee
I'm
it's
sure
gonna be
it's gonna
nominated.
be.
Mark him
I want it to
Mark
win
McDonough's
Best
amazing.
Writing and Best Actress.
I wanted to
The
win
script
Best
is
Picture.
86 pages and it's a 2-hour movie. That is the most efficient script I've
A lot
ever
of
read.
silence.
It's fucking crazy.
Actually, no, there isn't a lot of silence. Probably.
No, probably
No.
a good amount of
Improv.
description.
It's fucking crazy. No, it's like.
so
sorry, I'm
The
obsessed with
reason
it.
I
Nothing
didn't
right.
like Sacred Deer for that part compared to Three Billboards is because there's a scene in Three Billboards where you're like, they should still be in jail. Like, you know what scene I'm talking about? The
Yeah.
Yeah.
fire and all that?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's no way they wouldn't know. It's such a stupid alibi. That one at least had some sort of explanation, right?
Well, with the whole town being inept,
Him
I was kind of
buying
like,
it, yeah.
okay.
This
Yeah,
one's just cut. Suddenly, they're fine.
Then he goes into the room and with the donuts.
Yeah.
Right, it's right before that when he was like, meet me in the cafeteria, and then they.
Oh, no. I was thinking of, and then suddenly, diner.
Oh yeah, truly.
Oh, easily. Any
yeah,
police,
yeah, yeah.
Any
I
police
was-
officer should be like,
and-
oh, so there are two moments.
Yeah, there's a moment much earlier when he.
I haven't seen the movie.
I'm don't worry,
Yeah, I'm not
I'm
gonna
not
spoil
gonna
this
spoil
Yeah,
it
don't
all.
spoil it, but-
But
It's
remember
like a
in the
puppet show from
cafeteria,
this
I need you to
angle.
come talk to me, and then he tells him everything that's happening. That fucking kid. I need you to come talk to me.
That's a great impression.
And dude, fucking
Yeah, because I like the metal band
Spaghetti.
instead of the leather band.
that's very
And I
good.
did it because like
That's great.
Dude, but that scene that you're talking about, how about an alternative? An easy alternative for that, for the way that happened. We talked about this in the car.
Oh, yeah.
Easy alternative, dude.
I would do
She sucked.
anything for love. I think that the was close to
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So then it was already too late by that point. Okay, that's why they
This would be a good
that's why they
game.
chose, the one
of
that they
the-
chose. Yeah.
No, you mean the method or the person?
Oh, the method was
I'm talking about the
fucking
method
awful.
of that happening. How
Well-
about just the traumatic?
Sorry if you don't know what we're talking about. There's we just don't want to spoil anything because it's
like
it's
I
very
have
new to
such an issue.
theaters.
He could
but
have easily flip a coin.
honestly, go see the movie. It's entertaining the whole way through.
Yeah,
The
it is.
dialogue is so unique. All of his movies, I guess,
was
have
gonna say,
dialogue.
that's- yeah,
I've
he's-
never seen Dogtooth, and I really want
But
to.
here's
I haven't
what
seen that
I
either.
came out of, how I felt coming out of that movie. Wow, I wish I didn't see that movie, and I will never watch it again.
What's your Doug score on it?
Doug's score, my Doug DeMero score,
Doug's score.
probably still 8 zooms out of 10.
You would give it 8 out of 10?
Yeah, it was a good movie, but I wish I didn't watch it because it didn't make me feel good. It fucked me up a bit.
One thing I would give it probably a 7 out of 10, and purely like I had a lot of problems with it, but the way they teetered on not really knowing whether it's a comedy or a horror
Absolutely
the
not a
entire time
comedy. I don't
was
know.
really entertaining.
I never felt like it was a comedy in the slightest.
Yeah,
This is
there
it.
was one scene where I was like, sorry, I have a bunch of
I'm learning a lot.
dude?
I'm learning so much right now.
Black dead
That was
skin.
really informative.
Dead skin orange.
What happened with your hands that caused that to exist?
let's cosplay.
You just have.
Let's cosplay.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting.
You give me a heart attack. Dude, my ears. I had headphones on, monitoring your audio.
Aggressive. It was so pointed. Like you wanted that
And thank you for
microphone
watching Beyond the Pine.
Bing Yong's first
I would give it a 7 out of 10. What would you give it?
I'd say probably 7.5.
7.5. 7.4. And then let's do movie, just a brief movie review each podcast. Let's do 3 billboards just to catch up everybody. I would give that a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd give it a 9.
9, easy.
I would too.
9 out of 10 purely because
Incredible.
the ending wasn't as cool as I wanted it to be.
You know what?
I wanted more.
felt the same way until I started to think about it, and I realized the journey wasn't about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was
True.
mostly about.
Well, no, because I just wanted it to end.
You wanted to see who.
Not necessarily. I wanted it to either go on further or end at the part where
He
the
hangs up,
call,
yeah.
where she hangs up and and you already know the plan. Like I
Right,
didn't.
right.
That last scene put me in a mindset where I was like, oh, there's gonna be a
It's gonna
payoff.
be more. Yeah, exactly.
I think it completed his arc.
Yeah.
And that's what I like.
It was cool when they did the reveal of like
yeah,
he knows.
yeah.
That was amazing.
Incredible movie.
Yeah, it went in the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God,
man.
unbelievable. I think
So
that
good.
I want Sam Rockwell to win Best Supporting.
Yeah.
He's great. He's
Absolutely.
But no, one of the
Absolutely, he
things that I
deserves
think
it.
was really great in that movie, and I haven't read anything about the movie to see if this is true or not, but the guy was definitely the guy.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Had to have been.
Yeah, because
And the theory of who he was and what
Fareed
his-
was saying that since he was a military guy,
They protected him.
they protected him
Yeah.
and they covered it
That
up.
was my thought.
but
too.
he was in a different place when that happened.
That's hearsay.
Yeah, that is hearsay.
I believe the here.
But that's a thing that I think is very subtle, and like if you realize that, you're like, wow, this movie's that much better. That guy was the guy and he was being protected, not some conspiracy thing, but just the fact that he was a military guy. So if the chief of police is going to call up his post or whatever and say to his commanding officer, "Yo, was this guy there?" They're gonna be like, "Yeah."
Oh,
Fucking
so
great script.
So cool to figure that out too. Like I knew instantly when he was listening. I was like, "That's the guy."
So I was and this is totally unrelated. I brought it up on the podcast over there because it just baffles me. In 2012, I was reading an article. Did you guys know HSBC? It's a huge bank, originally based in London, but they have banks in America and they have banks in a bunch of different countries. This can we just talk about how fucked this is? If this wasn't like a big issue back then and it still isn't now, like nobody seems to give a shit about it. They laundered so much money for cartels.
Really?
For cartels, literally, they had boxes from like cartels filled with money that they would put in the banks that were specifically shaped as the window like hole for the HSBC bank in Mexico. That's fucked.
Wow.
You know what punishment they got? They were fined 1.9 billion. That's like 5 weeks of profit.
What the fuck,
And
dude?
no one was sent to jail because they said that the bankers, if they sent them to jail, then that would create an economic like turmoil situation.
Oh, dude.
Potentially.
No.
You don't think?
No, not at all. I think that it's
That's
so
the whole
stupid.
too big to fail thing. It's like
Yeah.
the fucking ISPs.
I think, people
I think
need
there
to
could
know
be
the
some
consequences.
repercussions with like
Sure, there could be
the economy
potentially
with that,
some.
Yeah,
absolutely.
but you look like those top level bankers and like the like where they're at. They have so much like control and influence in the world.
Yeah.
And with like politics and stuff like that, like the Rothschilds and like the Rockefellers and shit. Like they're like those
Kochs.
top families.
Someone
that
was
to
are,
saying
shut
after-
that down, that would be. I think we don't even know, but economically that could be fucked. Yeah.
I was reading another article about how corporations really took over after World War II.
Yeah.
It used to be just governments controlled countries, and now it's corporations control countries. And I'm definitely a capitalist. I'm definitely into small business and even big
Yeah.
business. I just it's disconcerting in a way.
it is
It's-
because you want a company who's doing a lot to do well and do good for people, right?
Yeah.
And like that's because I agree with you there. Like I believe in that stuff too. I'm also a fan of social programs, depending on what they are. I don't think that everything should be socially driven from the government, like funding things. I don't think that works out with a country as large as America. But I think that you have these small businesses that are like, they're making money and they're doing good things with that money. And then you have these big corporations that have been around for like 100 years or so, and they're like not doing that. And I'm like,
Well, what
you guys
bugs-
got the money and you got the power and you got the influence, do something good with it.
What bugs me is the like actively trying to destroy progress for humanity by like paying politicians to like
Yeah.
Well,
like
the
the
good
whole
news is maybe Elon Musk and Boeing are going to be in a competition to.
Yeah, the space race.
I'm a
thing.
little hesitant to believe that Boeing is going to enter the space race because they're not a private company, and their shareholders will be like, maybe this would interfere with our investment, so let's fire the CEO.
well, it's like it feels like everything.
Not
is
necessarily.
kind
If
of-
you think about like this, I'm so sorry to
No,
cut
you're
you
good.
off.
Go for
If
it.
you see a new space race starting, a private, quote unquote, private space race starting, that could be one of the biggest booms in that company ever. If
I
they
don't
were
know.
to
I don't
actually,
think there's any money in it.
Sponsorships and stuff. You don't think?
What?
I don't
No,
know.
I'm talking about the space race.
no, I'm saying like
to Mars.
if
I understand.
Boeing is indeed, if they beat Elon Musk and they're the first, or even close to the first company to get a ship to Mars with people, they're now the company.
Then it's more of like when Ford built the Ford GT, or like anyone builds a vanity car like that. It's not
Do
to make
other
profit,
companies
it's
not
to-
get behind that?
Yeah, it's
like
to be the
space
status
race?
of it. I mean, like we're the ones that did this.
Maybe. I think
Well,
that
this isn't.
it's really
this
cool.
is bigger than making a car or doing something. This is getting a person to fucking Mars, dude.
I
Yeah,
think
that's fucking huge.
That's like the biggest thing in human history.
That's what I mean. And what I meant is like, do other companies not like get behind and help fund that, like the spacecraft?
that's what
and sponsor and stuff.
Elon Musk is a privately owned company. Sure, they have shareholders, but they're all private and they
Yeah.
have like huge investors and everything. That's how that works.
So just
one
mostly
thing that Elon
Who are
Musk
his
is
in-
doing that's
who are
actually
his
really cool. I
investors,
didn't
though?
realize that all his companies, in some way, push his going to Mars agenda.
Yeah.
Like the
Really?
Boring Company, that is. I think it's building tunnels underneath LA or something, but it's in preparation because you can't live on the atmosphere in Mars. So
That's very smart.
maybe they'd have to do underground settlements and everything. So that's
Where
kind
they
of
would do
interesting.
like terraforming and shit.
Yeah, and
which
then-
is a much bigger like decades and decades of
I love how he thinks
And then
such big picture.
Tesla
Like that's so cool.
is like they're not going to have
Fuel
any.
efficiency.
Yeah, they're not going to have any ability to have
no
like
fuel.
oil on Mars
Yeah.
or anything. So Tesla electric
Wow.
cars on
I didn't
Mars.
think about
And yeah, all of the companies that he's making in some way form this mission to Mars, and it's so cool.
That is
That's
fucking cool.
But like his personal life doesn't seem like it's in. You know what I mean? Like I always
He has
think
a lot
about
of
that.
divorces.
Have you seen? Yeah, have you seen that video of him with like one of his wives? Or I guess where
No.
like they showed like their home life and it was like
shitty person. Is he a shitty
it's
person?
it's just not
so
functional.
engulfed.
Yeah.
and so unique.
That's
in a
where
bad way.
yeah. Like this year for
For
me, I
personal
was like,
stuff.
I can't fucking make my career the focal point because like my happiness is totally it cannot be based on that shit because it'll fuck you up. Like most successful people I know, it's like totally a fucking platitude and shit, but like most successful people I know are fucking miserable
Yeah.
in their personal life, and it's because they ignore that shit to try and get into
My whole
whatever.
thing is finding a balance with that. Like I
Exactly.
like obviously, and now especially because like if you look at like the trajectory of where we're going and stuff like that and what possibilities there are for the future, I think that like there needs to be a lot of hard work now that's going to pay off in the future and stuff. And then once you get to like
You adapt and
exactly,
you
you adapt and you have to
Yeah.
always adapt.
you have to. Yeah, you're gonna go fucking batshit crazy like those people you said that are just so. Steve,
Yeah. No,
you're
spend too much time
towards.
It's just
yeah,
hard.
truly.
It's just hard to do, and it depends on where your focal point is and stuff. And mine was just
Draw a
like
picture.
fear of the future and
Yeah.
shit. And so now,
Well, I think that's
being
similar
more
to Steve,
present.
like fear of the future. I mean, we're in a pretty good place, but I think that hopefully when things get to a more stable spot, you'll be able to balance out personal life a little better
yeah,
because we care about you. We want you to have a good personal life.
yeah, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I just it's only my fault.
Yeah, but I mean, you're doing it for the right reason, but maybe that is not the right choice.
Be careful with that mindset though, because that's a place that I have been this year, where it's just this thing of like, it's just me. I'm just a big fuck up, and like whatever. And I feel like that has driven me farther away from my relationship.
Because then you have an excuse to
than anything.
neglect. maybe.
There's that,
Not that you
but
do,
then
but,
once
you
you
know.
embrace this shame of it, it's a
Complacent with it?
spiral. And no, it's just kind of like this, like I fucked up, I'm a fuck up, and you kind of get to the point where you're too resolved to your shame about it. That's hard to ever recover from it. So be careful with that. You are not alone in stuff
Well,
like this.
Let's go get some dinner and talk sometime.
I would
Jamie.
actually love that because
I'd
I
love
feel like
that, dude.
Wait, I've talked about this all the time, but our brains are like wired exactly the same, and I feel like this stuff is like it's really important. But hell yeah, dude, that boy's tough.
So I'd like to thank everybody.
The Hunger
What's up?
Games.
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for watching episode 19.
18.
18.
Beyond the Pine.
Oh, the Boys Only Pine Club.
I'd love to thank our sponsors Skillshare and Uber. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you.
Bye-bye.
This has
Tomorrow.
been
Markiplier.
Septic. James Allen McCune.
in the next video.
Plain
In the next
James
video.
and James
Bye-bye.
Allen. I just signing off.
Should we do a little quick song? Just because.
Cow chop.